Okay, so we're still discussing this matter. Mary was going to make a point
Yes,
for the break.
yes. So we know what loan sharks are, and as far as I know, loan sharks are illegal. They are not encouraged anywhere in the country. In fact, people are constantly advised not to go to loan sharks, and the reason why is because of the method of their debt collection, and which includes what we're seeing here, where they're threatening you. They have no concern for how you deal with this, your mental health, your relationship with people, your relationship at work. Nothing. They're ready to pull you down, drag your reputation. It does not matter the reason why you're unable to pay a loan. Now, with a regular person or a licensed loan house or financial house, they understand. So they take steps. Even before you finally end up in court, there are different steps that you take, and they also understand they also have a responsibility, which is, this is a person, a human being who deserves respect as well. There are different things that can cause a person not to be able to pay a loan back. So change in circumstances have happened. You do not mean for it to happen, but it has happened. And then there's an opportunity where you can sit down and have this talk with them, and they're able to review the process of collecting the loan, in such a way that, in the end, you're able to pay it with dignity. So for me, I'm emphasizing that the method in which this is done is wrong. Okay. There's nothing wrong with trying to collect your loan, but this is wrong. This is not acceptable. These are loan sharks, and I do not believe that loan sharks should be allowed to just carry out their business the way that they do. And Nigerians, be careful.
Okay, let me take this call from Chris. Thanks for calling. You're live.
Hello?
Good morning, Chris. Go ahead, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for this topic. First of all, the what they call canon of lending. Right. As a bank, you must appraise your loan application and see that it meets the minimum criteria before we offer them. And besides, most of these loans, these online loans, they are not even bankers. They don't know the tenets of banking. What they do, they don't give loan and give it for a few days, probably for 5 days, 7 days. How can somebody pay within 7 days? So they make the lender, the borrower, default because they put them in the tight corner. And besides, most of people that borrow the loan, they are in their need. That's why they go for the loan. So if you give them enough time, they'll be able to repay back as when due. But when you say a loan is for 7 days and at a very high interest rate, I think CBN is defaulting in their own duty to regulate.
Chris, can you hear me?
I'm hearing you.
So there's an argument that as an adult, you approach a firm, I need money, and they tell you the terms of engagement. You have just 7 days. You make a decision to accept the loan. Therefore, you are applying your responsibility to ensure that loan gets back in 7 days. Now, there are circumstances, which Mariam said earlier, where things happen. So in some cases, something happens, you are not to be able to pay it. But in many cases, it is a default on the part of the lender. Because the truth is that you who are applying and knowing and accepting that 7 days you return it, don't you think that's irresponsible for you not to return in 7 days?
Madam, you are looking at the part of the lender. Also look at the part of the borrower. Thank God you have a lawyer in your midst there. In banking, you have what they call oath of secrecy. You are not expected to disclose the activities or the transaction of your customer to a third party. Why do the issue of placing them in advert is totally it contradicts the law. You have an oath of secrecy. So as much as the borrower has a fault, the lender itself must ensure, because he's a professional. The borrower is not a professional. So before you go into the business, know the business.
Okay.
So the issue of bringing them in the limelight is totally wrong, and CBN to be able to regulate it. And besides, even the way they pump their advert on the net is very
yeah. Thank you very much.
Can I just quickly
let me just say something. I've been holding on. The conversation of the company or the business being preying on the vulnerable is a valid conversation to be had. If we are discussing on the fact that their mode of business is wired to prey on vulnerable people with the intention of taking advantage of them, that is a valid conversation to be had. That what they did is illegal is not a valid conversation. Because in most cases, if you read the terms and conditions, you should not take any loan from those people. Loan apps, terms and conditions, details that they will go through any means to get their money back. Phone calls, messages, access to your social media platform. You will tick yes, because you want to collect money. You will not read. You're just ticking yes, because you are just trying to get money out of that app. You don't realize you're signing away the right to be able to be aggrieved if they go through anything to get that money back from you. So I think that the conversation of how they go about it is not a conversation we should be focusing on. We should focus on talking to the regulators. That CBN, why are we permitting people like this to carry out this kind of transaction? Because you know your people. Knowing your people means you protect your people. If I know that giving loan access to this kind of people, and there are many foreigners in most cases, to give loan to your people, and that they will use any means to get their money out, you are in exchange, because when exchange
people to be responsible.
No, they are not. You know they're not responsible. So let's talk about number one. All banks have loan abilities, but they go through stringent measures before you can get a loan from them. So the majority of those that go to loan apps cannot get loan in a conventional banking system. They would be disqualified because they do not have what it takes to repay the loan. So you giving them that loan, know that they cannot pay, and you just want opportunity to say, if they pay, is a risk and reward. And then I will ensure that there's a real margin that ensures I make my money and make up for the risk I'm taking by borrowing you money. So the CBN can protect us in some ways, which is to ensure that before you can take a loan, you must be able to provide some details. There's a market for loan shark. That's why there's loan shark all around the world. They can't fight it. There's a market for them. It's like there's a market for prostitution. They will be there. But you would at least make it difficult for people to take advantage of those things. Okay. We are also putting an age limit on, there should be an age limit on ability to take loans. People take loan, underage are taking loan on those apps as well. I believe that it's something the government can regulate. If you are not above 21, you should not be taking loans on those apps in the first place.
Okay, let me take Nima, but let me take Olusegun first. Good morning, Olusegun. Thanks for calling. You're live. Go ahead, please.
Can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can hear you.
I was listening to the last speaker. Are you getting me?
Yes.
And I felt the last speaker doesn't really know much about loan company. Okay, I've worked with like 4 different loan companies. I will not mention their names. Are you getting me? Most of those loan companies are scams. Do you understand me? The issue of uploading pictures, disclosing people, it's not part of their terms and conditions. Are you getting me? I work with EasyBuy. I've worked with Easy Money. I've worked with... Are you with me? So all this issue of uploading pictures is not part of their terms and conditions. That is the truth. Fine. They will inform you, they will access your account, access your contact. The only thing in EasyBuy, the only thing you're allowed to do is to call 2 or 3 of their what's it called, contacts. And you have to call them with respect. Once you go out of that way, if the company gets you, you are fired. Are you getting it? But other companies, most of those companies are not even registered at all. So they go any means to get their money by uploading pictures, do all sorts of things.
Nima has a question for you.
So some of us are also aware how these people work. When they recruit members of staff who have to contact, the debtors, do they give them a deadline, and an ultimatum as to when they must get the debtors to pay back? So those people who are behind the phones, behind the system, calling and reaching out to your contact, do they give them a deadline within the loan shark companies to meet up?
Okay, this is what happens. Once you join the company, you are given a target. Your salary is just 35,000 naira monthly, but the other thing is for you. Some of them do it daily. You have to meet up with the target of 100% daily. If you meet up with the target of 100% daily, you are getting 7,000 naira. So that's why people go ahead to do all sorts of things to meet up with that target. So that at the end of the month, when they are going home, they go home with a very huge amount of salary, rather than going home with 35,000 naira. That's how it works. So all these things
Thank you very much,
doing is against the company.
Okay, go ahead, Mariam.
Okay. So I think, Toko, when you say that these loan sharks are everywhere and they exist for a reason, you're right. But why do they exist? Because they prey on the vulnerabilities of people, and that is why it is wrong. And that is why, yes, the government regulators may not be able to completely stop them from existing, because as we know, they work underground. And because human beings will always be vulnerable. And also there's an assumption that you've made that the people that go to loan sharks are irresponsible people, and that the only reason that they go is because they know that they're going to take money and they're unable to pay. Some people go to loan sharks because they may not meet the criteria of the bank, they need quick money, and they are sure that they'll be able to pay, but things happen. So not everyone is in that boat of, I'm trying to scam this person or trying to scam the system. But then when these things happen, if it was a licensed organization, there's a way they go about collecting their debt. In a way, again, I say, maintaining dignity and decency. The loan shark has no care for who you are, what you're going through. They are not willing to even sit with you and say, let's renegotiate how we can collect these debts. And so that is why it is a problem. And with giving out loans, it's a shared responsibility. It's not just for the lender and the borrower. After all, even personally, some of us will say, this person asked me for a loan, but I know this person cannot pay. So I would rather give this person half of what the person is asking me so that they can go. I know I've given it as a gift. We do that as well. We look at that. But there are some people who will look at, this person is so vulnerable and so desperate, I'll give this person, and then I'll not make that person's life living hell. I'll even give them terms that are so unfair. But because I know how desperate that they are at that point, I'll give it to them, and then I'll make their life so unbearable, I'll embarrass them. So that's what loan sharks do. My problem is with how they collect their debt. It is wrong. And yes, you're right. I've heard the government, I think it was last year, if it was not 2023, 2024, when this was such a big deal, our government tried to step in. They'll try to regulate it. But as we know, human beings, these things will always happen underneath. But, we can give advice to people. Don't go to loan sharks. They don't care about you. In the end, you will lose completely. But to say that, it's like the person deserves what you get from a loan shark, I don't think that's right.
Let me take David and come to you. Good morning, David. Thanks for calling from Mowe.
Morayo and the...
I need some volume, please.
You are doing good job. I think basically when you talk of...
I can hardly hear the caller. Please, can I get some volume?
Yeah, majority of the people, for instance, who do this type of business, they are not registered. So it's illegal. There's no way by which they could do this thing successfully. On the part of those of the debtors, there are quite a lot of people, who borrow money from people, and they don't have the intention to pay back. When you get a loan from somebody and there's a problem, if you get in touch with the person and say, so I'm sorry, this is the problem I have now, I would say, people will not go into this type of embarrassing situation to embarrass you. But majority of the people, they get the loan, and the loan they get it for, it's not for business, it's for personal use. When they have problem and they know right from their own heart that they are not ready to pay. So government should come out to regulate this type of business.
All right, thank you very much.
I don't think they are registered.
Thank you.
Okay, so the first caller was talking about confidentiality in this kind of arrangement. And I think one of the things that the loan sharks do first is to take away that right from you. You are not supposed to run away or block the number of a loan company you took loan from. It's irresponsible. So I understand the case because I have someone who took a loan for a business, someone that's giving him a supply. I didn't know it was a fraud. He needed millions to supply. So he took loan from a loan shark company, got all the materials to site, and they said, deliver somebody is supposed to sign something. He went and came back the next day. Nobody was on site. They're taking all his materials. And so he had to pay overtime. But you don't run away. When he came to me, I said, first, reach out to the company. Let them understand that you have suffered a frustration. There's something called frustration as a defense in civil matters in law. Something that is beyond you. Something unexpected has happened. You make that claim to them. When they reach out to you, you pick up. You continue to let them know you're making effort. You can even renegotiate the loan. Okay, I wanted to pay within a certain period of time. Can I now pay monthly based on what I can earn? Can you put the facts on table as opposed to what Nigerians popularly do? you block the number, then and you had already consented for them to pick up your contact, maybe one way through an app or something. And so they can reach out to everybody on your contact. And they start sending messages to that person. Some people sadly will come to events, and the celebrity that you just met, that you collected their number, they will be contacting the person that doesn't know you. Alibaba put out one time calling out someone because loan companies were reaching out to him that he was on the person's contact. So something as embarrassing like this is something you must avoid. And then the fact is that it is a choice. You are an adult. When you approach a loan company, it's almost as if you know how it will turn out if you default. It's either you are prepared for how it will turn out or you gently leave it. Exactly. There's something called overdrafts in banks. You can have an account. You're credit worthy. You have shown that you're credit worthy. If you ask for it, they will give you money beyond what you have in your account. That covers up whatever you might need. But if you're irresponsible, you will take the option of the loan sharks because you can just apply from the comfort of your bedroom without filling any paper, no collateral, nothing, knowing that where will they find me? I will just block them. So we must address attitude of Nigerians in how they use their hand to forward this embarrassment on themselves. Sadly, it's not something I agree with Miriam. It's not something that we should allow loan sharks go on with. But do we then say Nigerians should continue to do this also?
Let me take Opeyemi from Ibadan. Thanks for calling. You're live.
Hello, morning.
Opeyemi?
Yeah.
You're live. You're watching the TV. Speak to me directly, Opeyemi. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I applied for.
I'd have to disconnect.
Oh. And on that part, it was written that for all 500.
Can you hear? Maybe the person doesn't know how to increase the volume. Yeah, go ahead.
So, one, I wanted to, Mariam, maybe because of the way I was saying it, Mariam assumed I was sort of making it look like all people who go for loans actually plan to default. No. I know that life happens. There's someone that used to work with TVC way back that I got messages from loan app concerning her defaulting. Several WhatsApp, text messages, that time when they were still doing phone calls. And later, within a month of that period, she came to meet me to borrow money. And I was like, hello, I don't have filter. I just thought, I said, but you have defaulted from loans. Why should I borrow you money when you've defaulted loan companies and they're sending me messages already and I'll borrow you money? Apparently, her mom was not feeling fine. And she was paying medical bills. They were having to buy drugs. And she was like, this is a life and death situation that she needs the money. I should give her like 3 months to pay. And I did. And she paid second year. She didn't pay in 3 months. She didn't pay in 1 year. She paid the second. She actually paid. And sometimes people default. And she sent a long message after she made the payments to say she was really grateful. She was going through a very difficult time. Yes, her mother finally passed, but they had to buy drugs on a daily basis. She couldn't sustain buying the drugs. So she had to go to loan apps. And she exhausted all the loan apps. And then she had to talk to people. And exhausted that one too. And they couldn't afford it. And the person still passed on. And then she spent almost a year after paying everybody back. Life happens, even to responsible people. So I understand when a responsible person gets stuck in life, in the circle of life happening. But there are many irresponsible Nigerians. And there are many of them. And we should call them out, even while we are providing succor and support for the responsible ones who are caught in this challenge. So for me, if you have a challenge that has made you gone to loan apps and you have a reason that is beyond your control, like for me, you cannot spend. My personal philosophy, I will not go to by religion, by culture. I do not believe in taking loans on something, on anything. So I support that, but I'm not everybody. So if you are that kind of person that can take loan, be ready to take the consequences that come with it. And I pray that you don't find yourself in a situation where you'll be embarrassed by the reality of the loan apps calling you out. On a short break, when we come back, we'll take a few comments on social media and then we'll wrap up on this. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.